All right. Sun salutations, take one. You're going to come to your mat. Bring your feet about hips distance apart. Bring your hands to your sides. And I'm going to go through this sequence, one breath per movement, like I said, in real time. And in a subsequent video, I'll break down each pose one by one. We're going to inhale, lifting your arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale, step the right foot back. Knee comes down into a low lunge. Exhale, step the left foot back and press into downward facing dog. Inhale, shift your weight forward, coming into a plank pose. Exhale your knees, chest and chin come hovering above the ground. Inhale, slide forward, cobra pose. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, inhale. Exhale, step the right foot up, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands back down to your sides. Other side, inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back this time. Inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest and chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Right foot steps forward. Inhale. Exhale, step up. Forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands come back down to your sides. So that's considered a full round of sun salutation because you do it both on the right side and the left side. And by doing that full round of sun salutations, you actually work every single muscle in your body. You work your shoulders, your back, your arms, your abs, your chest, quads, hamstrings, calves, everything gets a little bit of a workout as you go through that. So that's why a great thing to start with, because you'll notice which of those poses are more difficult for you. And if you can tell me which of the poses are more difficult for you, we can zero in on the areas in your body that you're experiencing a lot of tightness with. So that's full speed, right? That's doing one breath with every pose. And now I will go through with every pose that you just saw, and I will break it down piece by piece to let you know how you should be doing the pose, how you can modify the pose if it doesn't feel good in your body, and how you incorporate the pose into that sequence that I just showed to you, right? So the very first thing that we did was we came to standing, right? And you have your feet hips distance apart, and your arms are at your sides. Now this doesn't really look like an exercise pose, right? But one of the things that you're always keeping in mind as you're doing these types of poses is your body aligned, right? So as you're standing here, you should feel your tailbone tucked under and your abdominal and your core is engaged. And your shoulders are back and they're lowered away from your ears. So if you feel yourself standing with some tension in your shoulders, or if you feel maybe a tilt in your back, you can take some time to try to work that out. So again, you can bring your hands to your belly and to your back and just try to tuck the tailbone under so that your lower back is flat and protected by the engagement with your abs. Right? Little things. Lowering the shoulders down away from the ears. You're just relaxing the shoulders, but you're also drawing the shoulders back and feeling your shoulder blades moving down your back. So that's what you should feel like when you're standing in this pose, just standing with your feet hips distance apart. And you should feel the crown of your head is almost pulling towards the ceiling because you're trying to lengthen your entire spine as you stand here. And then in the sun salutation, the first thing that we do is we inhale and we bring our arms up. So one of the things that's important about this is that you don't allow your shoulders to go up as your arms are rising, right? So you lift your arms up while keeping the shoulders relaxed, keeping that tailbone tucked, and keeping your abdominals engaged. After you get to the top, then you begin an exhale. And as you exhale, you hinge at your hips. So you're almost like falling forward, but with control, and you're trying to keep your back flat. Now, if you feel this a lot in the backs of your thighs, if that's really tight, bend your knees. Like bend them really generously, right? So starting back again at the top, as you begin to bend, you can not only bend your hips, but bend your knees, trying to keep that flat back. And your hands may not reach the floor. They probably won't. So you can even keep them on your thighs and just try to work your belly towards your thighs until you feel a nice stretch in the hamstrings in the back there, right? So like I said, this pose looks different in everybody's body. Some people are down and they're trying to get their face to their knees. Some people that have very tight muscles and they need to keep things bent, but you're still working and you're still getting a benefit from the pose, right? So that's the forward fold. Now after we're in the forward fold, I'm going to turn this way. After you're in the forward fold, what you do is you step one of the feet back. So we're going to step the right foot back this time. And as you step the foot back, you put the back knee down on the ground and you stack the other knee directly over the ankle. Your knee should not move past your ankle because you can injure your knee that way. So you want to make sure that your knee stays directly over the ankle, right? And what this does, you might feel a stretch along your hamstring here, and you also feel a stretch along your right hip as your hip moves towards the floor. It might be pretty intense too. So you can always tuck your feet. That helps you to relieve a little bit of that stretch. And you can also bring your knee a little closer to relieve a little bit of that stretch as well. Okay? Moving from this pose into the next, which is called downward facing dog, you're going to place your hands on either side of your front foot, about shoulders distance apart, and then you can either step all the way back, or if that's very difficult to do, what you can do is you can bring your knee back first, and then lift your knees and your hips to come back into what they call downward facing dog. Now, in the full pose of downward facing dog, you're pressing into your hands and you're driving your chest back towards your thighs, and you're trying to lower your heels down towards the mat. Now that may be very inaccessible. So what you want to do is maybe put a bend into your knees, right? The straight legs is not a very important part of the pose. The more important part is trying to get a line from your hands all the way up to your hips here. So you want to feel pressing into the floor with your hands, spreading your fingers apart, and continuing to try to drop the shoulders away from your ears so that you're not scrunching your shoulders up, right? And as you work in this pose, you'll gradually be able to straighten your legs a little bit more and a little bit more, okay? Now on an inhale, you start to slide your weight forward and bring your hips down into what they call a plank pose. And in plank pose, your shoulders are directly over your wrists and your fingertips are spread wide apart, right? And if this gets to be intense, you can lower your knees down to the mat. You don't have to stay with your legs extended. So that's plank. Then the next pose on the sequence is called knees, chest, and chin. So you lower your knees, you keep your hips still, and your hands planted on the floor, and you bend your elbows back like you're doing a push-up, right? And you lower yourself down until you feel your chin and your chest hovering over the floor, and your hips are still sticking up a bit. Then you inhale, slide your belly down onto the ground, roll your shoulders back and down, squeeze your elbows together, and press your toes into the floor so that your knees lift off the floor, okay? Once you have all that put together, now you begin to lift your head and your chest off the mat, only using your back muscles. So you shouldn't be using your hands here. You can actually lift your hands off of the mat to make sure that you're only using your back muscles. So you shouldn't be pushing, you should be pulling, using your back, okay? Then for the next pose, we go back to downward facing dog. So we did this one already, right? You press into your hands and you exhale, and you can come through your hands and knees again, and then lift your knees and your hips up to the ceiling. And again, if this is intense, you can put a bend into your knees and focus on pressing the chest back so that you get a long line along your back. And now we're going to step the foot forward again, coming into the low lunge, right? So again, your knee is stacked directly over your ankle, not in front of it, right? And you can keep your hands on the floor, or if that's intense, you can keep your hands up here on your knee. You're feeling a stretch along your hamstring and a stretch along the right hip. Then you're going to exhale. You're going to step the back foot forward, and you're going to come into that same fold that we were in the beginning, right? So your knees might be bent, right? Your hands might be on your thighs, but the focus is on having a flat back, relaxed shoulders, and let your torso hang over your legs, right? Then you're going to inhale and come back up, and exhale, release your hands down to the sides, right? So that is kind of a demonstration, piece by piece of the sun salutation all the way through, and then also a walkthrough of each pose step by step so that you can see what you should be feeling in your body. So if you'd like to, maybe watch this video a couple of times, try it out, try to follow along with what I'm doing, and maybe you can give me some feedback about what it is that you feel in your body as you do the different poses. If you want to, you can video yourself and send it back to me. If that feels a little uncomfortable for you, I know, people feel a little on the spot when they're in video, right? You can just, send me a message on Facebook and say, everything felt fantastic, I'm going to do that over and over again, or I really liked this pose, but this one, kind of it hurt here, or it, caused some interesting sensations there. And that might help us zero in on some other exercises that we could introduce in order to help certain areas of your body that may be feeling pretty tight. So that's what I'm going to leave you with for today. Hopefully that's helpful. And, if you ever wanted to do a live video chat where, I could walk you through some poses and we could talk live, face to face, through video, that's always helpful too. I've done lots of yoga sessions with people that way. I have a friend out in Boston who we frequently get together and teach each other yoga online. So, that's something that's fun to do sometimes. So, I hope this is helpful. I love to try to help people. I love yoga. I think it does fantastic things for your body. And let me know what you think. If this is the completely wrong direction, we can try again and try to go forward with something else. But if this is helpful for you, let me know and we can continue moving in this direction. All right? Hope you're having a great day. I will talk with you soon. Bye.